What if the real secret behind Donald Trump's billions had nothing to do with luck, or even politics, but something far more calculated, hidden in plain sight? Long before the world recognized Donald Trump as a figure who would dominate headlines and political discourse, his story was already unfolding in a way that defied conventional wisdom. The popular image of Trump as a man who simply inherited a fortune and coasted on family wealth is, at best, an incomplete version of reality. While it's true that his father, Fred Trump, provided him with a starting loan of $1 million, what Donald did with this seed capital was anything but straightforward. He didn't just buy properties and wait for them to appreciate. He wove together a new approach, one that fused real estate, psychology, media, and personal branding into a singular, disruptive formula. In the late 1970s, New York City was a far cry from today's glittering metropolis. The city was gripped by a fiscal crisis, its reputation battered, and its neighborhoods crumbling. Where most investors saw a dead end, Trump saw opportunity. He looked past the safe bets, Manhattan's established retail corridors and stable office towers, and instead focused on overlooked and distressed properties. These weren't just any buildings. They were former landmarks, luxury hotels, and iconic structures that had fallen on hard times. Trump recognized that the true value of these assets lay not in their current condition, but in their potential to become symbols of revival. Take the Commodore Hotel as an example. The property was a decaying relic, shunned by investors and regarded as a liability by the city. But Trump saw beyond the peeling paint and empty rooms. He envisioned what the hotel could become with the right transformation. Armed with an audacious vision, he negotiated a deal that was remarkable for its creativity. He secured tax abatements from the city, struck a partnership with Hyatt, and convinced banks to finance the majority of the project. All of this was achieved not by flashing cash, but by selling a story, a narrative of resurrection and prosperity. This approach became the cornerstone of Trump's strategy. He understood the power of leverage. While most investors viewed debt as a burden, Trump wielded it as a tool for amplification. By borrowing against future potential rather than present value, he was able to control vast assets while keeping his own capital at risk to a minimum. What's more, he mastered the art of media manipulation. Long before social media made it commonplace, Trump recognized that perception could drive both investment and public sentiment. He courted journalists, staged events, and made bold promises about developments like Trump Tower, projects that would capture the public imagination even before they broke ground. But the true masterstroke of Trump's approach wasn't just in the buildings he developed or the deals he closed. It was in the creation of the Trump brand itself. At a time when most real estate players worked quietly behind the scenes, Trump made his name a central feature of every project. The Trump name, emblazoned on towers, hotels, and casinos, became synonymous with luxury, ambition, and a kind of brash success. This was more than vanity. It was a calculated move to create brand equity. The Trump name grew so valuable that he could license it to buildings he didn't own, collect fees from around the world, and generate income streams that were insulated from the risks of property ownership. As the years went by, Trump's empire expanded far beyond Manhattan. He ventured into Atlantic City, betting big on casinos. Some of these gambles worked, others did not. Critics were quick to point out his bankruptcies and legal battles. But what most didn't see was that Trump often used these setbacks as strategic resets. Bankruptcy, in his hands, wasn't a mark of failure, but a mechanism for shedding debt and starting anew, sometimes while retaining operational control over the very assets in question. This ability to bounce back, to reinvent himself and his businesses, became a defining characteristic of his career. Meanwhile, Trump's ambitions were never limited to real estate. He diversified into golf resorts, beauty pageants, and even bottled water. The launch of The Apprentice, a reality TV show, turned him from a business tycoon into a household name. The show's catchphrase, "You're fired," became part of the cultural lexicon, and Trump's persona, confident, confrontational, and utterly unapologetic, became a brand unto itself. Licensing deals flowed in, not just from the United States, but from places as varied as Dubai, Turkey, and the Philippines. Wherever there was a market for luxury, aspiration, or spectacle, the Trump name followed. Throughout all of this, Trump demonstrated a knack for turning the court of public opinion to his advantage. He understood that markets are as much about psychology as they are about fundamentals. By buying when fear was rampant and optimism scarce, he positioned himself to benefit from the inevitable rebound. And when the market was riding high, he cashed in on his brand, often selling the right to use his name rather than selling the underlying asset. This allowed him to multiply his income while minimizing exposure to risk. Perhaps the most overlooked aspect of Trump's strategy was his willingness to embrace controversy. Where others shied away from negative headlines, Trump leaned into them, using every bit of coverage, good or bad, as fuel for his brand. Lawsuits, feuds, and public disputes became part of the Trump mythology, drawing attention and, paradoxically, increasing his influence. In a media-driven age, he proved that being talked about, regardless of context, could be more valuable than staying quietly successful. So when people ask how Donald Trump turned $1 million loan into a multi-billion-dollar empire, the answer is not simply a list of successful real estate ventures. It is a story of vision, audacity, and an uncanny understanding of how perception shapes reality. Trump's greatest asset was never a building or a bank account. It was the ability to tell a story so compelling that others wanted to be a part of it, whether as investors, tenants, or viewers. In the end, Trump's journey offers a blueprint that goes far beyond balance sheets. It's about seeing value where others see risk, using leverage as a force multiplier, and understanding that in the modern world, attention is the most valuable currency of all. The real lesson isn't just about making money. It's about mastering the narrative, controlling the spotlight, and turning every setback into a new beginning. That's the untold story behind the rise of Donald Trump, a playbook that few have truly understood, and even fewer have been able to replicate.